Good morning, y'all. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I made it. And I'll explain later. I hope you guys had a great um, weekend last weekend. I did. Um, so, good morning. Good morning. Oh, let's go live over here on Instagram. Good morning, everyone. And I'll do something I often forget to do at the top, and that is say, introduce myself. Good morning. I'm Angel Cornelius, the founder of Maison 276 and creator of the award winning 3-step system for silver, gray, and blonde hair, a healthy way to brighten, cleanse, and restore the natural brilliance of your hair without purple dyes. We gather here as a community every Friday morning at 10 o'clock Eastern for Coffee with Angel. We talk about a lot of topics, sometimes hair care, but oftentimes fashion, lifestyle, wellness, whatever the topic. Most of them are driven by you, the community, and they are all issues that are important to you, the woman who is unapologetically growing bolder. Good morning, Cynthia. Hey, Marcia. Back in the ATL, Oshana said she had an amazing Valentine's Day weekend. That is great, great. By the way, y'all, last Friday when we started up our coffee chat, Shauna and her husband were in the car driving to their Valentine's Day weekend. And I'm like, please tell him thank you for letting you hop in with us for just a few minutes before you start your Valentine's Day weekend. So I'm so glad to hear that it was great. Oh, so Marcia, hey, from Maryland, Shauna and her husband went to Maryland from Atlanta for their Valentine's Day weekend. And in fact, our daughter was in the DMV last weekend as well. What y'all doing like that? Okay, y'all spill the tea, as the young people say. Like, what's going on in the DMV like that? That people flock in there for Valentine's Day. Okay, let me go over here and say, hey, good morning, Yaya Rod. Hey, Cheryl. Good morning. Good morning, my princess Ruth La Chicana. I hope I said that right. La Chicana, last week, this is probably why I'm feeling under the weather because last week there was a lot going on. Last week I went to a reception by the Latin Women's Initiative here in Houston. If you don't know about that organization, they are an amazing organization of women that have programs that support women and children. And baby, when I tell you every event they have is a party, I love it. The first event I went to last year, I was like, yes, these are my people. These are my people. Great time, great community, and a great cause supporting women and children. So, anyway, just want to drop that out. That little shout out to my friends at Latin Women's Initiative. So, okay, Shauna is telling us a 10-hour drive from Atlanta to Baltimore. Whew, 6 hours is about my limit in a car. That's about my limit. And the only reason I established that as my limit is how long it takes me to drive from Houston, where I live, to New Orleans, which is where I'm from. Anything past that, we got to see what Southwest got going on. Or Delta or United, but you get the point. Okay, so she says, because I said, spill the tea, we want to know what's going on. She said there was a concert. Oh, boys, ooh. Okay, all right. All of those are check, check, and check. All right, real music, as I like to say, real music. I always tell the children the reason y'all sampling all of our music is because we make good music, but we're not gonna go there this morning. Good morning from Virginia. Okay, the DMV is in the house. Good morning. Hey, not before 10. Hey, Terry, how are you doing? And it's probably cold in Indianapolis still. Speaking of the weather, so I was even last night, I was like, am I gonna be able to get on? My throat has been on fire for the last couple of days. but we pushed through. So to wrap up, unless y'all got some more Valentine's Day stuff, I will. When I got off last week, I was like, I don't know, we might do nothing or we might do something. I don't know. And we wound up doing something. As it turns out, my husband had prepared this weekend for us in Dallas. He's a big tennis player. He plays a lot. He plays in leagues, and so huge tennis fan. And so we went to the Dallas Open. Um, and so we were there Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Had a really good time. Once we parked that car at the Omni, honey, that car did not move because that's my idea of relaxing, not driving around doing things. And the hotel is actually in Frisco. So if you are a Dallas Cowboy fan, I don't know why, but if that's what you are, or if you are just a football fan, that is a great venue. Cowboy Stadium is an amazing stadium, but the whole area is built up and you can kind of just make a weekend of it. Lots of cowboy memorabilia, football kind of stuff, and a lot of great restaurants. And then, of course, the Dallas Open. I don't play tennis. I don't mind. It's one of those things where if I'm watching it in person, it's a lot more interesting than on TV. But it was really good. The finalists were Taylor Fritz and Ben Shelton, who are two Americans. So it's always great to have two Americans in the finals. And Ben Shelton won. And so it was good. We had a really good time. I didn't look at my email from Saturday, Sunday to and Monday. So that's a long time for me not to look at email, y'all. So, but I needed that break. So I think Shauna asked me last week if I was taking my quarterly breaks, disconnects that I promised myself at the beginning of the year. And so Shauna, I checked that off the list for the first quarter of the year. That's right, grown folks music. It's cold. Where are you? It's cold and rainy up north. I know. So, one of the things I do from time to time, and if you follow me on YouTube, you'll see from time to time I'll drop a poll into the post. And so I did one a while back on the biggest hair care challenges, and overwhelmingly 50% of them were about how to keep your hair moisturized. So we're just going to chat about that this morning. I'm going to share some tips, some common mistakes that people make. And then also, if you have questions or challenges, none of this is complicated. It's all very simple tips that you can take to maintain your moisture. And so that is what we're going to chat about today. Today's topic. So while I'm typing it in, combating, and winter is the time where we can sometimes feel that dryness exacerbated for a lot of different reasons. So, oops, I do have my contacts in. Okay. Combating, I'll maintain. Oops, I just really can't type this morning. Hair, especially during winter. Okay. Now I'm going to be fancy and put a little emoji in there. Sometimes, y'all, sometimes I'm doing too much. Oops. Oh, the hair. Okay. Let me tell you, I told you guys I wasn't feeling great. So thank you. I appreciate the hair comment. And so I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have a voice to do Coffee with Angel, but if I do, I'm not gonna want to be like messing around with my hair in the morning. So I just braided it up, and I'll show you. I'm gonna turn around as soon as I fix the YouTube channel right now. Let me go ahead and click on. You got to go on and you got to click all the things to make sure everybody can see what you're doing. Okay. So I just did a very, very simple, super, super simple, some French, just braids, but they're just thick. So you can see in the bag. I think y'all can see back there. And then I just took the ends and just tucked them with a little pin. Did a little edge gel stuff, y'all, and that was it. That was it. I just and thank you, Mud, for the thank you. Y'all know I have a collection. And this morning, I literally grabbed the first thing that my hands came to, and it just so happens that it matched the turtleneck. I have one of my favorite. I have a lot of these. They're bodysuits, but y'all, I don't clip them. Fun fact: you don't have to clip the bodysuit at the bottom, unless you're wearing something super super tight and you don't want it riding up. But child, I just stick the sections. I just put them down there, just as though it were a shirt tail. That's it. Easy peasy. I just like the way that body suits the fit of it. It's not bulky, and so that's why I like them for a mock turtleneck look. So, okay, how to make so that's what's going on with the hair. That's what's going on with the hair. So let's talk about maintaining our maintaining moisture in our hair especially during winter. Winter is particularly challenging because the air is so dry. That heated air that we're pumping into our homes is really, really dry. And so that's, when your hands feel tight, your skin feels tight, your lips are chapped, that's all because of a lack of moisture. And you don't feel your hair, like there's no sensation, but when you touch it, you know that your hair is dry. And so that's one of the reasons. Also, if you're in those climates where it's super cold, you're always wearing a cap or a hat, which you need to because our hair, the heat escapes, through our head. Obviously, you need to wear a hat, but what you need to do, let's see, oh, I do have one under here. What you need to do is before you put that hat on, cover your hair with a satin or silk scarf. I mean, you can economy, inexpensive. It's just about protecting your hair from that friction. And 9 times out of 10, the hat won't be lined. And so whatever is under there is going to pull the moisture from your hair. Now let's talk about product use. I want to make sure we don't have any questions. Okay. Now, another thing that we do to dry out our hair further is over-shampooing. I cannot stress this enough. There is an assumption that you need to shampoo your hair twice, that you need 2 shampoo cycles. And that may or may not be true, but I don't think that's a hard, fast rule. First of all, before you shampoo, you should be rinsing your hair just like they do in the salon, because you want to rinse off that surface dirt, any products that you have, just replicate what they do in the salon, and then apply the shampoo to your scalp. So you want to shampoo, you want to start building up that lather on your scalp, and then let that lather then be incorporated or come down the hair shaft. So remember, a lot of times people are putting the shampoo on the hair. Start with the scalp. You got to clean your scalp first. Now, after doing that, if you don't achieve a very rich, thick lather, rinse and repeat. But if for that first shampoo, you get a very rich lather, it's likely that you don't need to do that again, especially if you have really short hair. Especially if you have short hair. Okay, guys, I'm just checking let me go over to Instagram, see if there are any questions. Okay, Terry, I see your question. So we talked about why the hair is drier, because the actual hair, the air lacks moisture. Some simple tips for protecting your hair when you do have to cover it. And then of avoiding over shampooing. Now, I have multiple vlogs on my YouTube channel. There's a whole playlist where I go into detail about all of those types of things, the types of products you should be using, nothing with sulfates and phosphates. If you're using the Maison 276 hair care system, you don't have to worry about that because all of the products are clean and they're all formulated to gently cleanse your hair without stripping your scalp of just the natural oils, and then also replenishing through each step, whether it's the pre-shampoo that brightens, the gentle cleanser, or the restore conditioner. Each step is designed to condition and add moisture to your hair. Okay, there was a question about the hair, losing your hair after surgery. That is really, really common, Terry. After surgery, after an illness, even if you didn't have surgery, and it is your whole body really kind of goes into shock, and your whole body is stressed. And it is not unusual. I can attest to the fact that stress can cause hair loss. It really can. And so, anytime you have a serious illness or you have surgery, that's a stress to your system. Even if when things work out 100% as they're supposed to, your whole body has undergone stress, and that includes your hair. Um, Now, this disclaimer, before you take any type of supplement, um, always confer with your primary care physician because some supplements can interfere with medications that you're taking. So you always want to check with your provider before you do that. But there are some supplements that you can take that for some people do help with hair growth. Biotin is a very common one. And I do take biotin. I started taking biotin about 6 years ago. I do take calcium supplements, but that was recommended by my doctor. There are also collagen supplements that you can take that people have gotten excellent results from. And I will list all of the ones that I take I will put them down in the description. But again, please, please, please check with your healthcare provider because all of our bodies are different. We may all be taking different types of medication, especially once you get to middle age. For instance, I take a very low dose of medication for hypertension because sometimes it's not about not eating healthy. I eat healthy, I exercise, I do all the things, and I still had hypertension. But I only need a very low dose to keep it controlled. And so that's one of the reasons why I always check with my provider before I take any type of supplement. Not before 10. You're correct. Rinsing, going back to doing things that don't dry your hair out. So in addition to not over shampooing, rinsing your hair with cool water, not scalding water. And honestly, you shouldn't even be washing your hair with hot water. Yes, you want it to be warm, but when you do that final rinse, make it a cool rinse because that helps seal the cuticle. Now let's talk about conditioning. 99% of the directions on conditioning products say towel blot your hair and then apply conditioner. Not on the Maison 276. And here's why. And I hope you can see this. This is a sponge. It's a dry sponge. And this is conditioner. Now, the Restore conditioner is very thick. That's why I'm shaking it down. And it's supposed to be thick because you can use it as a leave-in, a rinse out, and as a hair mask. And so that's why I always recommend leave your hair wet. Don't take that moisture out of your hair after you rinse rinse, and are ready to apply the conditioner. Because think of this, I want you to think of this sponge as your almost dry hair. You see how it just sits on top? It's not absorbing it in any kind of way. Now, I'm going to get a wet sponge. Of course, I forgot to wet it before. Now, this sponge is wet. I'm going to put that same amount of conditioner on there. And you see, it's not sitting on top. Now you can't even see it. And that's why your hair should be wet, not towel dry when you apply your conditioner. Okay? And when at least during the winter, at least twice a month, you should be doing a deep conditioning mask. So you want to apply that conditioner to that wet hair, not towel dry. Cover it with a plastic conditioning cap, you know, the inexpensive kind that you get from the dollar store. You can get them from a beauty supply place. I buy them from Amazon. Like I get a bag of like 50 for a few bucks. I'll put the link in the description of the vlog as well. And cover that for at least 20 minutes. If you have a heated conditioning cap, that's even better. And I will link all the vlogs that go into detail about what I'm talking about right now. But, you know, it's winter, it's cold, so I want to keep that top of mind for you on how to maintain that moisture. And then also when it comes to using heated tools, this applies all year round. Use a heat protectant, whether that's blow drying, flat iron, or curling iron. Use those heat protectants to protect your hair. Good morning, good morning. So if you just hopped on, welcome to Coffee with Angel. Today we are talking about how to maintain moisture, how to keep your hair moisturized during the dry winter months. So you guys let me know good morning, Sister Girl Chronicles. Let me know what questions you have. Because sometimes we're buying all the right things, but we're not using them in a way where we get the maximum benefits of the products. Now, one thing, you know, I talked about over-shampooing, and the frequency with which we shampoo varies significantly. We have people who shampoo their hair every day, all the way to once a week. Some people alternate between a cold wash and a shampoo because we all have different hair types, textures, condition. The condition of our hair is different, and what we need at any given point in time can completely change. If you are someone who washes your hair every day or every other day, you definitely do not need to be doing a 2 shampoo cycle because you are literally just stripping your hair of the natural oils. If you are someone who washes your hair every day or every other day and you use the Maison 276 3-step system, you should use step 1, which is the brightener pre-shampoo. You should use that once a week. Only once a week. And then you can use the shampoo and the conditioner with as much frequency as you need to. Again, right products, but you got to use them in a way that allows you to get the maximum benefits of the system. Now, the other thing, the final step, is not just adding that conditioning to the wet hair. The final step, and I'm going to go back to this dry, you see it's still sitting on top. You see how the conditioner is still sitting on top, that dry sponge. Now we're going to go to oils, because maintaining, it's not just enough to put the moisture in your hair. And remember, moisture comes from one place, water, period, water. It's not just enough to add the moisture. Now, how do we lock it in? With oils. You see that oil sitting on top of that dry? You see, it was just sitting on top of that dry sponge. Now I've got this same wet sponge that has the conditioner in it. And as soon as I put it in, it starts. Now, what is that doing? If you imagine that the sponge is your hair, the oil is locking in the moisture. Oil does not moisturize. Oil seals the moisture in your hair cuticle. Same as with your skin. Skincare and hair care routines and the philosophies on how to maintain moisture are very similar, which is why as soon as you get out of the shower, I mean, as soon as you get out of the shower, the first thing you grab for is that moisturizer. And for me, it's going to be oil. It's going to be an oil. I am that Maison 276 number 8 Botaniques oil. I don't do anything. I get out of the shower, put that on because that is my body. Your body has been drenched in moisture the whole time you were in the shower. So you want to take advantage of that as soon as possible, as well as putting a few drops on my face because that prevents that tightness that you feel. If you feel that, because think about this, if you get out of the shower and then you start doing other things, put your robe on, whatever, that skin is going to start feeling tight and it's going to tell you, oh, nope, 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 we're drying out. You don't want to get to that point. You don't want to get to that point. You want to lock that moisture in ASAP. Okay, checking for questions. Do I apply oil daily? So if we're talking about my skin, not only do I apply it daily, I apply it at night and again in the morning. Now, when it comes to hair, if I feel, so once your hair is dry, okay, so I'll just, for someone like myself who washes their hair once a week. So if I am not doing a heated style, Marcia, like if I'm not flat ironing or anything like that, if I'm right now, my hair is just natural, I'm going to first of all, listen to my hair. What is it saying? If it feels fine, then I probably don't need anything. But if it feels like it's dry, then I'm going to infuse some moisture. So I have a spray bottle. I can't get to it right now. The stand is blocking it. But I have a spray bottle with distilled water in it. If I feel like my hair is dry, I'm going to lightly spritz it to infuse moisture. And then I'm going to take a little bit of either Restore conditioner because it's really thick. See? I'm going to take either some Restore conditioner, do this, and because it's natural right now, I don't have to worry about anything. And then I'll take a few drops of the Revive serum, put that on my hand as well, because the Restore conditioner, that has some water in it. It is a conditioner, but it does have water. So it's a water-based product. So I'm spritzing with water, adding some conditioning agents to it with the conditioner, and then I'm sealing it in with a few drops of the Revive. So if my hair is like no styling, it's not flat iron. That's what I'm trying to say. So if I'm wearing like my ponytail and I flat ironed it, but it feels like it's not really like I see some flyaways. Maybe the ends aren't looking the way I want them to look. I'm not going to add water because that's going to make my hair revert back, right? Because I flat ironed it. But I will take some drops of the Revive serum and apply them, from the roots all the way to the tips. And for the most part, that will kind of calm the flyaways until it's time for me to wash my hair and do it again. So let me know if that answered the question. Okay. Okay, Sister Girl Chronicles, her hair can get very dry. You spritz it with water every day and moisturizers afterwards. Yes. And I would say a third step, you got it. You're adding moisture, you're adding hydration. And I know you live in a very cold climate. And so it's just, I mean, it is what it is. We can't change the environment, but we can make sure that we take care of our hair so it's not so negatively impacted by the environment. But for a third step, I would say add a few drops of oil serum. The Revive serum is super, super light. It's very lightweight. Oop, I need to get another bottle out of the cabinet. But I'm gonna show you I'm gonna just show you how lightweight it is. So your hair is going to absorb it very quickly. But I would say make that your third step because the oil is going to lock in the moisture that you added with the spritzer. And then the moisturizer, if it's a type of conditioner, chances are it is a water-based product. So that's two ways that you're infusing moisture, which is the locking in that is so important. You've heard of the lock system, LOC. It's liquid, oil, conditioner, and some people reverse it. I actually put the oil on as the last step because that works best for me. I live in a very humid environment. The environment is probably I can't win. In the winter, y'all say it's dry. If you live in an environment where it's humid, you're like, oh, it's too wet. So I'm not saying it as a complaint. I'm just talking about the different environments that we live in. But I do live on the Gulf Coast, and it is very humid, literally all year round. And so I find that the oil as the final step helps not only lock in the moisture, but it helps control some of the frizziness that is just a function of living in an environment where there's a lot of humidity. Marcia says her hair gets crunchy between washes. Okay, so tell me, Marcia, are you wearing your hair natural? And then, yeah, tell me how you're wearing your hair right now, and then that will help me know how to answer that question. These are great questions, y'all. If you just hopped on, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Angel. Today we're talking about how to maintain moisture in our hair, how to keep it soft and healthy even during dry winter months. You can have beautiful hair at every age and every stage. We just got to know we just got to buy the right products and we got to know how to use them the best ways to get the most out of them. So Marcia said her hair gets crunchy, but I want her to tell me how she's styling it before I can answer that question. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, let's see. It's natural and hair. Okay. So how often, because I wear a half wig sometimes too. And so you're saying it gets crunchy. Is it like when you take it down? I think that's probably because if you're wearing a wig as a protective style, and I'm just thinking out loud, walking through like so when I wear my half wig, it is essentially like this, is braided, and I just have leave out in the front. And one of the things that I do, because you're not thinking about it, right, Marcia? It's just all tucked away under there. So one of the things I will do to prevent that, now I know what you're talking about, that I guess crunchiness and that dryness, I will still treat that braided hair. So I will still add some moisture with the bottle, and this is just like a little plastic spritzer bottle that I got from the dollar store. Let me see, I think I can reach it on the other side of the cabinet. I just want to show y'all what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. So I will still spritz it just a little bit You don't want it dripping wet. What it sounds like you're describing is just dry hair. And also, what depending on how long you have the wig on, especially if you have it on every day, then the wig cap itself might be drying out the hair. So I would still add some moisture to it. Again, not dripping wet, just, damp, just a few little, that kind of thing. Um, I'll put a little bit of the restore conditioner, just like I just showed you. Putting some on your hand, using it like a hair balm, or well, not a balm because a balm is more like a butter. Just using it like a daily moisturizer because you spritz your hair first, and the restore is very thick. That moisture in your hair is going to help distribute it throughout your hair. And then I was do some oil as well. So even though you wear wigs, not necessarily you, Marcia, but anyone, even when you're wearing wigs, sometimes we forget that hair under there, it still needs a lot of TLC. It needs a lot of TLC. And so I would also use do that final step to lock in that moisture. Let your hair breathe a little. Make sure you're letting your scalp breathe. And then, of course, at night, no matter how we wear our hair, we got to do that satin wrap. We got to do it because those cotton pillowcases are literally, however long we're sleeping, 8 hours. That's 8 hours of just sucking the moisture out of your hair. Now, I know a lot of people. Some people like the satin pillowcases. They're fine because I think they're great for your skin. But I still like the idea of wrapping the hair because if your hair is still loose and you're on the satin pillowcase, no, it may not be pulling the moisture out of your hair, but it's the friction of the loose hair that I'm not a fan of. And so, that's why I always go back to the satin hair wrap, the satin scarf for sleeping. Okay. And then the hair loss. Now, that could be because of aging. It could be hereditary because women suffer from pattern baldness and all the other things that we usually associate with men. For instance, I have these cowlicks right here. That is very like that's hereditary on my mom's side of the family. Like, and so as you can see, I remember somebody somebody in one of my hair blog comments said something, like, oh, you need to fix your hairline. Sis, like the hairline is the hairline. The hairline is the hairline. So, again, some things are just hereditary. That for me, that's just hereditary. I don't know how far back it's going to go, and I'm not really worried about it. It is what it is. So yeah, so whether it's, hereditary medications, a lot of medications cause hair loss, or either the combinations of medications that we take as we mature can cause hair loss. If it's very severe, then that definitely warrants a dermatologist visit. It's not something we often think about as it relates to hair loss, but dermatologists don't just treat skin conditions. They also treat hair conditions, and that may be something that's worthy of a derm consult. So don't just take hair loss as oh, well, that's just the way it is. No, they're doctors for that. Absolutely. So Marcia says, I braid it up when I undo it. Right. When you undo it, the hair is crunchy. Yes, 4C. I have the same type of hair. Yes, absolutely. So do those tips that I just recommended. Also, I would make the braids, I would make them as large as possible, and not so tiny. So see if you can increase the size of the braids. And I know we all have different hair not just textures, but thickness and volume. But I would make them like when I wear my half wig, with the front leave out, these are the same size braids. I don't do little braids. Um, and then the other thing I would say is how often you may need to take it down more often. So I don't, so don't keep it braided up for just weeks. I know people have braids that last, much longer than that, but I would say don't go more than a week without taking it down. But that crunchiness, one is because it's been in that condition or that state for a long period of time, just like anytime we get braids, like right when we take it out, it's crunchy. But I would say make sure you continue to give it some TLC in between those washes. And then before you wash your hair, because like when you take it down, it's super textured from the braids, it's a lot more inclined to tangle as opposed to, let's say, if your hair was flat ironed or you were getting ready to wash it. What I find, I'm a lot more prone to lots of tangles, if when I'm taking it out of that braided state. So before you wash it, here's a tip: add some moisture, a lot of moisture to your hair, and finger detangle. Make sure as you've taken those braids out, you haven't gotten any tangles in. And if you have a detangling brush, I recommend, I have several actually. I have a lot of different Here's one, the Tangle Teaser. I'll put all those links down in there. But this is the one that I use in the shower. It's flexible one. Now this is designed for detangling after shampooing. This is not designed for dry hair. But after you unbraid it, because you're going to have all of that texture, all those little crinkles, and they're just primed for tangles. Add some moisture to your hair, finger detangle, and use a detangling brush to make sure that your hair is fully detangled before you wash. Because if you shampoo tangled hair, then that's just 5xing the tangles when it's time when you're done, and you'll think your conditioner isn't doing its job by detangling your hair. But I mean, you gotta give it some help. You can't get in there with a head full of tangles. And that's one reason why when you're at the salon and they're rinsing your hair before they actually apply the shampoo and your hair is elongated, think about how your hair is in a shampoo bowl. Like a lot of that is detangling the hair. Yep. Before they even get started with the shampoo part. Oh, awesome. Great, great, great. I'm so happy you guys are finding this helpful. Wow, y'all, it's almost been an hour. Well, I am so glad that you guys had a lot of questions. I really hope, I'm looking to see on my notes that I missed anything any tips that I wanted to share. Thank you so much. If you just joined us, our coffee chat was all about tips on maintaining hydration and moisture during these dry winter months. All of the coffee chats are uploaded on YouTube. So if you hopped on late, don't worry, you can catch all of the chats, the complete chat afterwards. Once I upload it, I will have all of the associated full-length tutorial vlogs as well as any products I might have mentioned. I'll put that down in the description. Thank you so much, Marcia, Sister Girl Chronicles, and everyone else who had questions. Berna, thank you guys for all of the questions and for putting it out there. This community is all about sharing, and a lot of times the questions that you had, maybe questions that someone else had but they didn't want to ask, or questions that someone who is rewatching our chat, questions that they had. So I just always appreciate you guys being transparent and sharing. This is not a lecture forum. This is a community forum where we all chat, share, and everyone benefits. So I'm gonna go take some something. I don't know what. I'm going to take something for this cold. Thank you guys for joining me on another coffee chat. Don't forget to join our Facebook page. If you're new to Coffee with Angel, thanks so much. Thank you for watching, for subscribing to the Beauty of Aging channel. Y'all, we are almost at 50K. That is crazy. I can't believe it, but I'm so appreciative of y'all. Yes, Sister Girl, add the oil and make sure that your winter hats are satin lined. Absolutely. And if the hat's not lined, just put on, get a bunch of inexpensive satin scarves and just put that on or shove that up under your hat. I even I've started wearing satin scarves even when I wear my baseball caps. Y'all know I've gotten really into baseball caps on my lazy days. Sometimes when I'm traveling, I'll just do a ponytail and put those baseball caps on. But I always have a satin scarf up under there because those baseball caps are cotton and they're just drying my hair out. So absolutely. Thank you guys so much. You guys have a great weekend. Oh, yes. I have some honey, but I don't have any lemons. So definitely going to run out to the grocery store and get some. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great weekend. Take care. Stay warm. Definitely. That's an oldie but goodie. An oldie but goodie.